Hello and welcome back. It is nighttime right now, so that's why it might seem a little dark. But what I wanted to talk about today, as you can see, we are in front of my book collection. And I wanted to talk about this stack of books right here. This is my physical to-be-read pile, hopefully by the end of this year. So I have a reading goal for every month. Right now that it's a school year, it's around 3 to 4 books a month, just kind of depending upon what's going on. In October, it was 3 books. I think I've finished 6 this month, so way above my goal. But I wanted to talk about this stack of books, so I'm just going to grab it quick, and then we'll go through it. Now that I have it here in front of me. So this is where I put all the books that I buy, that I've got as gifts. Most of these I have purchased. So right now I'm not allowed to buy any new books until I finish a couple more of these. So on my to-be-read pile, and one that I'm currently working on, about 1/4 of the way through it, is Riding Rockets by astronaut Mike Mullane. This was recommended to me by my boyfriend. So I found it at a thrift store for $1, so I thought I'll pick that up. And so I'm into it a little bit. Space is one of my favorite topics, and this is like a really comical take on space and being an astronaut. So far I'm finding it really fun and funny. And the nice part about it so far is that it has really short chapters, so it's easy to just pick up, read a little bit, and then go on to all of the other things that I have to do. So I'm really enjoying that so far. I really want to finish this up next month for sure, because I don't think I'll finish it by the end of October. There's only a couple days left. Next, that got added to the top of my stack. So my stack of to-be-read books, I try to keep it in order of how I bought them or was given them. So I try to work from top to bottom. So if a book makes it on top, it's usually for a reason. So I just got this book in the last week. This one was a gift from my boyfriend. It's the Breadwinner trilogy. He recommended it to me. He thought it would be a book that I would really like and enjoy. It is, I'm actually not sure what it's about. I haven't read the synopsis on the back, but it's all 3 books into one book. He said I should just read the first one. It was his favorite, so that made it to the top of the stack. So that will be the one I'm reading next once I finish Riding Rockets. Right under that, I actually again have already started, but realized I had like 6 books going at once, so I put it back down and finished the ones I was on, and then other books just got added on top of it. Is Until the End of Time by Brian Greene. I actually have previously read this book. I checked out from the library and I loved it, so I wanted to own it. It was one I was looking for a while, and I was shopping in-store in bookstores for gifts for other people. I saw this and I was like, I need it. It was on my to-buy list for a while. It's just one of those books. It's about physics and the universe, and I thought it was just going to be about quantum physics when I checked it out, but it ended up being more about our place in the world, and it was just like a very existential book to me, so I really wanted to reread this. I'm only 5 pages in, so I'll probably just start again from the beginning when it is this book's turn. Next is a book that is actually a borrowed book, Homefront Girls. This one was one that was on my like to-be-read list. A lot of my books on my to-be-read list I just check out from the library. This one is actually a gift to my mom. So she read it and then she passed it along to me, so it made it onto my to-be-read pile, and I will eventually get to this one. Next, we have a classic, another book on my to purchase list that I've had for a while, and I was looking for the edition, I guess, or the version that I really wanted. It is Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. This was actually a book that I read in high school for a class, and it's one that's just stuck with me. And of course, it's a book that I didn't purchase when I had like we could buy the books for our class, or we could just borrow them, and most of the time I bought them. This was one of them that I didn't. So I'm really excited to reread this because just some of the themes and things have stuck with me for the last 10 years, and that I wanted to reread this. The next book on my list, or in my stack, I saw at a thrift store. There was a huge book section at this thrift store, and I was a sucker because they were like $1 and $2, $3 books. This book was $1. It is No Place Like Home by Mary Higgins Clark. Now, this is a very special book to me. This is the first adult novel that I read. My 6th grade teacher at the time knew that I really liked mystery books and asked my mom if she would be okay with me reading an adult mystery novel because I was 11. So she handed me this book, and I read it, and it's one that it stuck with me. And when I saw it in the store, I was like, I need to own this. It's a very important part of my history as a reader. So I'm really excited to reread this and kind of rediscover the story. Next is a book that holds a very dear place in my heart. I was at a used and I can't think of what it is, used and rare bookstore by where my sister lives. It also just so it sells like used books or books from, or like rare copies of books, which is really cool. And I was just browsing around, taking my time, and I saw Little House on the Prairie. When I was a kid, I read all of the Little House on the Prairie books. I wanted to be Laura Ingalls Wilder. And the fun part is, right now, I'm reading this book to my kids at school for our social studies unit. And I just saw this version on the shelf there, and I was like, I don't own this book. And it's just so beautiful. And the pages, you can't really tell, but they're like that textured, like they're not all even. And I am so excited. And I actually might bring this copy with me to school, because the one I have at school is kind of falling apart, and read the really beautiful version of this. I'm so excited. It's just, you just look at a book and you find it, and it's just one of those things that it's one of those books that just like gets you. So I actually might put this in my school bag, so it might move out of the pile. Again, with beautiful books, and another classic book, one that I haven't read, but I've read a lot around, is Sherlock Holmes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So I've read a lot of modern day Sherlock Holmes stories by other authors, or like female versions of Sherlock Holmes, like a ton of them, but I've never actually read the classic version. And this version of these classic books that was printed, they're just so beautiful, and like the texture of them is it's just the best. So I'm really excited to read this and kind of get the story like the original story, to kind of see how it compares to all of these reimagined versions of Sherlock Holmes. And then finally, a brand new book that was on my list of books to read / books to buy. It's another nonfiction book. It's called Shape, The Hidden Geometry of Information Biology, Strategy, Democracy, and Everything Else. So this is written by a professor from UW-Madison, which is where I went to school. And it just sounds interesting to me. Like I like how math and science, especially physics, impacts our world, and like the language of mathematics describes the universe. So I thought it was a really interesting book, and again, I was at a bookstore. I saw it. I was like, I'm allowed to buy one book here. So this was the one I picked. There was another book that I almost grabbed, but this one, because it was on my list, went out. So my goal is to get through to this one by the end of the year, but we'll see. So let's see. Let's count how many books that is, including the one I'm currently reading. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with Little House on the Prairie. So 9 more books by the end of the year, which means I have to read 4 or 5 books a month, which is reasonable because some of them are like shorter books. I do have quite a few nonfiction and classics, which take a little bit longer, but I hope you enjoyed learning about my to be read pile. I do have a couple more books that are like to be read, but aren't on my active to be read pile. They're in, you can kind of see it. They're kind of in the stack right here in my bookshelf. So those are books that I've owned for a while, and I haven't read. So my goal over the next year, 2 years, is to make sure I've read every single book on my shelf, because I am adding to my library. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.